Hi there, it's John from itsmorethanjustgaming.com. Welcome. Today I'm going to be taking a peek inside of the box of The World of Smog, Rise of Moloch, which you can see right here. It's quite a hefty box, as is normal with games like this. This one is made by it's manufactured by Mini or Not, and who else? Guillotine Games. And it is a game of Victorian adventure set in a steampunk setting, where players take on the role of the gentleman of the Unicorn Club. I guess that's the board elite who happen to have money and access to inventions and magic and stuff like that, who go out and fight the evil nemesis, which in the core campaign is Moloch and his cult. It looks like, having had a quick peek through the rulebook, and from what I understood from the Kickstarter updates, because yes, this is yet another Kickstarter, this seems to play very similar to games like Descent and Imperial Assault, which is no bad thing. And actually Doom, the board game, now that I think about it. All of which I enjoy, but they each have different strengths. For me, things like, my favourite's actually Descent, because I think it plays better than the other two. Doom is very fast, and Imperial Assault has the Star Wars lore going for it, so if you're a Star Wars fan, you're probably gonna, if you're more of a fan of Star Wars than games, you're gonna enjoy Imperial Assault more. And if you're more of a fan of fantasy, then you're probably going to enjoy Descent more. And if you're a video gamer, maybe you'll enjoy Doom more. Rise of Moloch, it's steampunk fantasy. It looks really fun. So let's have a peek inside the box. So we've first of all got a fairly jam-packed box with a pretty rulebook. Like I said earlier, I read through the rules. There's 24 pages. It took me half an hour. And either the rules are well laid out, or because I was expecting them to be set out in a specific way, they were fairly easy to pick up. We've also got the campaign book, which has the different monsters and things in it. I'm just going to skip over these bits because that's for the Nemesis only, but you've got various chapters, and you've got, I'm gonna just sort of like hold up the map there. That's your first play map for the chapter 1, but I'm not going to spoil too much of that. We have stuff in plastic wrap, so I think I might just pause and unwrap the plastic. One quick unwrapping later, and we have the first of the sealed up components open. And as ever with videos like this, there will be a link in the description to an accompanying blog article which has a little bit of text about what I've managed to figure out about stuff, either through play or just rereading stuff, and also photographs of all of the components that I think people are going to be very interested in. The first component that we've got here is the round track and the turn track. Here you can just keep track of how many turns or rounds you've actually had, 1 to 8. And on the here you have the Gentleman and the Nemesis activations. Basically you place down tokens at the start of the round, face down, so that it's kind of secret. So the Gentleman place their activations up here, and the Nemesis place their activations down here. Then you flip the token for the Gentleman, then the Nemesis, the Gentleman, the Nemesis. So there is a little bit of surprise, which is quite cool. Let's see what we've got here. This appears to be the setting for London on Fire. That wasn't covered in the rule book, but I'm going to go with that will be something to do with one of the scenarios. It does look very pretty. Nothing on the other side. Here we have the Nemesis board. I think this is for keeping track of Ether, this is for Nemesis upgrades, and Ether Reserve, so, sorry you can't see that, Ether Reserve down there. Actually, I'm not sure what that is. I'll need to double check that later. There's the Ether Reserve down there for when the Nemesis gets ether, which is used to fuel magical power. These are conspiracy point bonuses when gentlemen do stuff in the intermission, which is the sort of like the campaign phase after any campaign game. Any shop or location they go to awards the Nemesis conspiracy points, and they can use them to give themselves power boosts in the next game, which is quite interesting. I like that. We have tiles, location tiles. These look like doors and internal locations. What have we got on the other side? More internal locations. Very nice. Got a tavern here, and it looks like a cellar. It looks like we've got barrels and rubble. Ooh, I'm not sure what that's meant to be. A road, perhaps? A lit up road, and I genuinely don't know what that is. This looks like a main hallway, because these little symbols here are doors and those are windows. This looks like a little box room, and maybe it's for an inn or a club or something like that. And I think this looks like the top of a building or something like that. Quite like that. Got another cellar by the looks of things. Possibly for an industrial location. This looks like just underground storage. Street lights, perhaps? Got another underground cellar for an industrial area by the looks of it. Storage crates. Looks like a dead sea monster. Some more doors. This looks like a crypt. More underground storage, and this one looks a bit like a sewer grate. We have tokens here. These blue things are ether tokens. These red ones are wounds. These are health bonuses. +1, I think that's bonuses to roll how many dice you roll. If you have like an ability or something that lets you roll additional combat dice, that's what these green and red +1s are for. Let's crown equals hat is to do with the combat dice. The crown's one of the symbols on the combat dice, and a hat means dodge. Reverse is exactly the same. We have fire tokens. Fire is a very real danger. We have, I guess these are cogs or gears. We have track tokens for like death tokens. And I'm not sure 100% what the different, actually I'll show them the right way up. I'm not quite sure 100%, but if you give me a moment, I remember they were very close to the start of the instruction manual, what they were. Bear with me. Okay. Round token. Track the number of rounds that have been played on the activation board. This is the death token. Track the number of gentleman neutralizations. This is the generic token. Track specific end conditions. And this is the conspiracy token. Track the conspiracy points gained by the Nemesis player to be used during the intermission. These are little bonuses to say what the circle plus signifies. These will be the places that you can get out, and this represents the curtain. And because the game board is called the stage, we have some more sealed stuff. Let's have a look. So on the previous pack we saw rooms and cellars and things like that, so they're sort of like inside tokens. These boards are outside boards, so this just looks like streets. This looks like a cemetery, actually. More street. More cemetery. More street. Something burning something burning. Possibly some cult location. More street. Something, again, it looks like it's on fire, and it looks very culty. This looks like it's the dock side and there's a tentacle coming out of the water. So sea monsters. This looks like it's part of a ship. I'm not sure that it's part of a ship, but it could be. Again, this looks more like dock area. And again, I'm thinking this is part of a ship, but again, it might not be. Now we're getting to the really interesting stuff. The gentleman cards. Okay. The game comes with 5 gentlemen. They're not all male, it's just gentleman is the name given to the heroes. This is Major Dreadful, it says his name there. You've got the 3 stats here, agility, trigger and punch. Agility is used for your dodge, and it's also used for a combination of opening doors and windows and moving. I think you can open windows, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure you can. Trigger is your ranged attack. That's how many dice you roll for it, and punch is your melee attack. He has the job Knight. From what I read of the rules, you only ever take 4 gentlemen into a scenario, and you can only have 1 of each kind of job. So Knight will be your sort of like your combat specialist. He has their Steam Fist, which has an attack boost. If you spend 1 ether, you get 2 additional dice in your punch, and your target plus equals 2 hits rather than just 1. He has 8 health in total. After 5 damage, he gets a Torment card, which is basically representing of a wound. He has the special ability Charge and 4 ether. He has room for 3 arsenal cards. He starts off with a shotgun and whiskey, and has room for 1 more. Let's see who's next. Emma Swanson. So she has 3 agility. She's better on the trigger than Major Dreadful, but she's not very good at melee. She is the dilettante. She has a symbiotic link to this alien. Bonus action, make 1 free attack with symbiote rifle. The symbiote rifle is already on her card. That costs her 2 ether. To use a free attack, she could use that as a regular action, and it would cost her 1 ether. She has the 5 health in total, 3 before she gets a torment card. She has the evade ability, or I think that's evasion. She has 4 ether in total, and she has the symbiote rifle as starting equipment, which is. It gives a bonus to her trigger ability, and if you spend 1 ether when activating it, you get 1 health per damage dealt, which is nice. I should actually say there is little histories on the back for all of the gentlemen. We have Abigail Sutherland, the Arcanist. Agility 3, trigger 2, punch 3. She looks like a banshee. She has Channel Spirits, which costs her 1 ether per turn. And that gives her a bonus of... that she has to upkeep that, so she has to spend that 1 per turn, but she gets a bonus of 1 to her agility and 1 to her melee per turn. She got 6 health in total, and 3 before she's Torment. I think the lightning bolt represents counterattack, and she has 5 ether to begin with. If she runs out of ether and still has to do upkeep, then she actually will start taking damage, if I recall. We then have Walter Cavendish, the Mechmancer. 3 agility, 3 trigger, 2 punch. He is the Mechmancer. He dynamo bonus. When attacking with Tesla gloves, may convert crowns into targets, which is 1 damage, and gain 1 ether. The Tesla gloves, let's see, they add 1 to your punch, 1 to your trigger, and you pay 1 or 2 ether to gain that many dice. So you can gain 1 or 2 extra dice, and you can target multiple things. And it looks like you get ether back when you get crowns, which is very useful because Ether fuels all of your abilities. He has 7 health, 3 before he gets tormented, 5 Ether to begin with, and it looks like counterattack. And Drago, the monster. You see that? 3 agility, 2 trigger, 3 punch. He has the Furious Charge bonus, gain +2 punch when using the charge ability. These charge I think costs 1 ether to use, and it's basically you can move your agility and get a free attack. He has quite a lot of health actually. He has 8 health in total, 4 before he's tormented, doesn't start with any gear. I guess he's going to be your melee monster. Let's have a look at the villains. So there are 5 I'll go through the monsters in a minute, but there's 5 helpful sort of hint cards on what you can do in each activation, and an explanation of what the symbols mean, and the different combat effects do. So that's really useful. I like it when games provide that. I'll pop them to one side. I'm not going to do a full description of every single monster card because there's a lot of them. So let's have a look at Lamia. And then we have the Flaming Zombie. I'll put photographs for all of these, although probably some of them will be shared. The Moloch spawn. Actually, I'm going to zoom that out a bit. The Royal Guard zombie. Titus, he's one of the agents, which is basically one of the bosses. And actually the agents have 2 sides on their card, so you can basically choose which one you want to go. That's Madame Edwarda. It's Damon Smith. He has Pyromaniac and long legs, and on this side Flamecaller and long legs. We have Hammersmiths, another agent. A High Priest of Moloch. Doesn't say of Moloch, but it's a Moloch cult, so that would make sense. This looks like a named High Priest or High Priestess. Ira Kodich. Emerson, he looks quite cool. Tobias. I think there's some relationship between him and Emerson. Nemesis Minion, a killer clown. And a shambling zombie. That's all very nice. There are a lot of cards in this game. I beg your pardon. So I'm going to go through each of them in stages. The first I'm going to go through are the arsenal cards and the location cards, both of which are used during the intermission stage, and some of the arsenal equipment you'll start with. Locations, basically, in the intermission, that's when the gentlemen of the Unicorn Club get to go around London looking for training. They can buy stuff. There are specific locations where they can train their own skills or get specific equipment, but there are also 3 random locations drawn. So let's say one of them is... The pawnbrokers gain 2 random gear equipment cards and 1 random common arsenal equipment card, and that just costs them 2 conspiracy points to the nemesis if they go there. This one is Back Alley Trader, gain 1 random expert arsenal equipment card and 1 random gear equipment card. And let's take this one, for instance. Knightsbridge Barracks. When this location is drawn, reveal 1 expert arsenal equipment card. When visiting this location, gain the revealed card. And that only costs 1 conspiracy, so that's quite useful because you can actually see what you're getting before you go there. So it's less of a gamble. So pop these back in the box just now. Common arsenal cards. Let's see what you could get. Knuckles. It's an action, 2 ether, 1 adjacent enemy suffers this icon, which, let's see what that is. Knockdown. Nice. This need to spend an action getting up. Or a hand axe. It's 1+ on your melee, and if you spend the ether, excuse me, if you roll one of the target pluses and you've spent the ether, target gets rolls 1 fewer defense die. So that's the common arsenal. So axes, knuckle dusters, standard guns, things like that in the common arsenal. Let's have a look in the expert arsenal. The Slayer. It's +2 on your melee. You get, if you spend the ether, if you roll a target plus, you get 2 extra damage, and you get to attack an adjacent target as well. Sorry, I was out of shot there. The Assassin. It's +2 damage, +2 dice, and if you spend the ether, roll +2 dice when targeting an agent who has not activated yet, and you get to re-roll. So that's useful. Use that for a precision strike at a target early on. And then we get to the Royal Arsenal. So the Moloch blade, it gives you +3 dice in your attack roll, and if you spend the ether, 1 ether, heal 1 per damage dealt, and you do knockdown. I'm not going to go through all of them. Right, next. Each of the gentleman types, the Mechmancer, the Dilettante, the Knight, the Monster, and the Arcanist, has their own upgrade deck. And during your intermission phase, you can go and basically get an upgrade. And you can have a number of upgrades, and each one gives you different advantages. Let's have a look at a couple of the upgrades in each deck. The Dilettante. Copycat. Until the start of your next activation, this upgrade becomes a copy of 1 upgrade from another gentleman in line of sight, so that's quite useful. So that could be, that gives you a little bit more flexibility. This one is Impetuous. When an agent starts their activation in line of sight of this gentleman, immediately make 1 free action, although it does cost 1 ether to do that. And last one for the Dilettante we'll look at just now is Luck of the Devil. Place 3 ether on this card at the start of each chapter. Pay X ether from this card after an attack or defense roll. Gain that many hits or dodges. The targets are hits, top hats or dodges. That's a bonus ability. That's awesome. Let's look at the Mechmancer upgrades. Nanny Tin. That costs 3 ether. If Nanny Tin is not in play, take both of the Nanny Tin's ally cards and spawn Nanny Tin in an adjacent square. If there is no ally activation card on the order track, add it to the end of it. So you can basically create a pet there. High Tension. Suffer 1 damage this attack. Suffer 1 damage, and it's cost 1 ether. You get +2 to your melee or +2 to your ranged. And the Cooling Chamber. At the start of each chapter, place 3 ether on this card. Pay 1 ether from this card to heal up to 2 damage. And that's a bonus action. Looking at the Knight. Guardian. Costs 1 ether. When a gentleman or ally in short range, that's range 4, and line of sight is attacked, place your figure adjacent to them and become the target of the attack. So useful for getting your main tank into battle if someone else is actually getting thumped. Superior tactics, again, this costs 1 ether per turn. While in short range, all gentlemen, including you, gain +1 melee and +1 ranged. That's brilliant. Right, I'm going to move on to the next upgrade, because like I said at the start of this part of the recording, there are a lot of cards. So we're going to look at the Arcanist. Healing Wave. All gentlemen in short range immediately heal up to 2 damage. And so again, that's in range 4, and it costs 2 ether. But just in case you're worried that that makes the Arcanist sound nice and friendly, Reap Vitae. Gain 1 ether each time you neutralise a minion with a melee or ranged attack. So you're stealing their life force. Let's say that the Arcanist looked like a Banshee. Okay, the monster. Inhuman stand. When you would be neutralised, roll a die. On a hit or a hit plus, remain standing up with 1 health. Nice. Let's go with... the next one is Berserk. Suffer 2 damage to make 1 free attack action. So that's 2 of the monster ones. There is also gear, artifacts, and Moloch stones. Gear is fairly basic stuff. If I make my... yeah, Derringer. It's a discard, make this free action. It's a short range attack. If I zoom in on that, this symbol here above the red 4 means it's short range. But that's a range attack. You just discard this for a free action. That's useful. What else? Again, another one. It's binoculars, and again it's a discard. Your next attack gains a reroll. So that's what gears look like. They're one-shot deals that help your attacks. Artifacts, again, I think these are gained in the intermission, but they're possibly available elsewhere as well. Hook's Hand. Make 1 free attack action. This attack gains +2 dice, and then it's a discard. Okay. Oh, I like this one. Dorian's Picture. Bonus 4 health. The first time you're neutralised, discard this artifact. Fair enough. And then there's the Moloch stones. This one is +4 health. You gain evade and charge, or whatever that one is. I think I might have said it was counterattack earlier, but I think it's charge. You get starting bonus of 3 ether. This one gives you a reroll. This one gives you +1 agility. That's the sort of stuff that Moloch stones can do. Next up we have the roll, ally, and the activation cards. The activation cards... is this all activation cards? Yes, they are. They're broken into 2. Villains. So basically, oh look, we've just revealed that the Moloch spawns are activating next, or the High Priest. Or you put these on the activation track face down, and when they are revealed, excuse me again, that tells you what's happening next. And again, you get the activation cards for the gentleman as well. And there's one here for allies. Speaking of allies, let's look at the allies deck. So there's Nanny Tin that was mentioned in the Mechmancer. She's a sort of robot. There's her card. A damsel. Sutcliffe, who looks like he's a sailor. And Blackmore, who I guess that's a summon for an Arcanist. And the Bobbies. The police can help you in this. Because they are loyal to the crown. And each of the gentlemen takes a role. So there's a leader who has the bonus action, make 1 action with a gentleman in line of sight. And that costs 2 ether. Then there's a bruiser. You get 3 extra health. When you recover, remove 1 additional damage. So different roles give you different bonuses. Finally, from the cards, we have Torment, Chaos cards, and Nemesis powers. Torment cards are what happens when you reach the Torment point on a gentleman's health track. So this one, nothing happens, shrug it off. Blurry Vision, you get -1 to your melee and your ranged attack. Excuse me. Remove this torment only when you recover or are revived. Those are both actions you can do. This one is staggered, you're knocked down. So each of these will have a different effect based on the fact that you've been hit pretty hard. Chaos cards. Frenzied attack. Up to 2 minions may take 1 agility and 1 attack action each. They may reroll their attacks. So that's going to basically allow you to... You play this anytime and suddenly you're able to do 2 minions out of order. Take an agility and attack action each. That's useful. What's another one? Attack Urge. On an agent activation, this agent rolls +2 dice for the next attack. Again, useful. Coordinated Assault. Agent activation. For the next attack, this agent gains +1 die for each other agent and minion adjacent to the target. So you're ganging up there. And lastly are the Nemesis powers, which are persistent effects that sit on the Nemesis board. I think you can have up to 6 of them. Basic power. Draw 1 chaos card, cost 1 ether. Life Siphon, not a basic power. Make the following attack on a gentleman. That's range. It's a range attack and it's 5 dice. For each damage, heal 1 agent up to 1, and it costs you 2 ether to do that, so nice and nasty. Now, what you're waiting, I think you've probably been waiting for right since the start of the video. Let's get on with the miniatures. As with most Cool Mini or Not games, or games produced by Cool Mini or Not I should say, this box came with a handy thing at the bottom, 2 trays in their own mini box so that the figures don't actually get crushed by cards and boards, which I always thought was awesome because other games should do that and don't. So we have the top tray here, which has the spawn of Moloch on it over there in the corner, the zombified royal guards, the Lamia, we've got zombie minions, we've got flaming zombies, we've got all of the Nemesis agents. Not seeing any killer clowns, but then there is another side. We've got the killer clowns here at the bottom, we've got dismembered zombies, and we have the gentlemen and their allies. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bobbies. We've got... Let's see, who have we got here? We've got Emma Swan, we've got our Mechmancer friend here, we've got our Major Dreadful, we've got Drago, we've got the Arcanist. Not sure who that is. Possibly. Actually, no, that's the Arcanist there, that's the Captain. All of these I'll take photographs of. And you'll be able to see them in the link in the description, because I'm not proposing to take them all out just now because you'll not get a good view anyway. So I'll do that for the actual blog article accompanying this, and you'll be able to have a look there at each of the individual minions, and I'll put them next to their player boards and things like that so you can get a good idea. So that was my quick peek inside the box of World of Smog, Rise of Moloch. Let's see, from a production point of view, the cards look pretty, the miniatures are great, the way the box is actually packed means that I'm fairly confident I'll be able to put it all back together without stuff being stuck on the outside because there's no room. I'm fairly confident the miniatures won't get crushed because of the inserts. Having glanced at the cards as we were doing that video there and looking at the rules, I think it'll be a fun game to play. To be fair, I wouldn't have backed it if I didn't think it was going to be a fun game to play. I like the idea of doing a scenario on what's called the stage, which makes it a little bit more theatrical and, well, yeah, theatrical, which sort of adds to the feel of it almost. I also like the idea of the intermission where you've got your agents going around, your gentlemen of the Unicorn Club going around London to the barracks or the Royal Armoury or something like that. You can barely see the box in this video, but then that's just the problem of the table, I suppose, or me. Let's see if I hold it up like this. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be sure to let you know once I've had a shot of playing it what I think of the actual gameplay, although it will most likely be from the point of view of the Nemesis, because I always play the Nemesis in these games. because of the, well, for a start, if you own the game, you're going to play the villain anyway. So because everyone else is going to play the hero, no one else is going to have read the rules, or at least that's my experience. So I've been John from itsmorethanjustgaming.com. This has been my peek inside the box of World of Smog: Rise of Moloch. If you enjoyed or found this video useful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, or leave me a comment below. I do try and answer all of the comments. If you want to get a closer look at the miniatures and the cards, don't forget to click on the link to the accompanying blog on It's More Than Just Gaming, and I hope I'll see you back here sometime in the near future. Bye for now.